at the sports ground last year. Time to see how this Irish derby unfolds tonight in the company of Ryan Constable and Jim Neely. Good evening.
Well, good evening from a beautiful Galway city, the city of the tribes, and what a glorious evening it is here in Galway. A fair old bit of breeze blowing down toward Galway Bay. Rory Best, as we mentioned, retains the captaincy. Ricky Lutton, the tight end spot. Lewis Stevenson comes into the second row, and Chris Henry into the back row. Paddy Jackson and Ruan Pienaar combine once again at half-back. Tommy Bowes switches to the left wing to accommodate Andrew Trimble on the right, and Jared Payne returns to the full-back position. Well, it's a game that Ulster will be expected to win, but it's one that they know they simply cannot afford to lose. Last week's win, combined with the Scarlets turning over the Glasgow Warriors, took Ulster back to the top of the league once again. There's the Connacht skipper, Gavin Duffy, with what I am assuming is a little baby Duffy. Well, Connacht's front row of a combined total of 430 appearances between them. Veteran lock Michael Swift has more than 250. He partners Ireland's Mike McCarthy, who's off the Leinster. Another Irish international, John Muldoon, is at open side flanker. Late change in the Connacht backs, promising fullback Robbie Henshaw damaged a thumb, so the Connacht skipper Gavin Duffy is the last line of defence. Tongan Fatu Vanakolas on the left wing. Scrum half Kieran Marmion starts his 20th consecutive league game and is partnered by the Scots veteran Dan Parks. Referee from Munster, Irish international referee Peter Fitzgibbon, making his 47th league appearance this evening. Paddy Jackson, who played in the centre in the corresponding fixture a year ago when Ulster went down by 26 points to 21, starts here at the sports ground in Galway. Knocked backward, pulled in by Vanakola, and that's a measure of just how strong this Tongan international is, and he's managed to make some 15 metres. Marmion, Dan Parks. That's come down into no man's land. Somebody needs to claim it, and it's been knocked forward 3 or 4 times. Ricky Lupton nudged it forward. First scrum to Connacht.
Yeah, swirly wind as there always is at the sports ground. Probably looks as though it's in Ulster's favour in this first half. They'll want to utilise that to establish field possession. Ruan Pienaar again, you think, will be kicking for goal and can accrue those points should the opportunity arise from distance.
Well, the vastly experienced Connacht front row, in the middle of it, Adrian Flavin, who's decided to retire from rugby at the end of this season. Had a spell with London Irish. Cian Marmion, who took a chance at the start of the season because of injury, and a penalty straight away against Ulster. That doesn't bode well for the rest of this game.
And given the experience in that Ulster front row, Rory Best, he'll certainly be looking to lead that scrum in, and that's going to be an intriguing contest as this match develops.
Dan Parks finds his touch. There's, I think it might have been Tom Cord coming in at an illegal angle. So first set-piece victory to Connacht. And this is the man who's going to be throwing in, now 33 years of age, Adrian Flavin. A bit of a gap at the back of the Connacht line-out. Well taken by Mike McCarthy, who's had a very successful season with both Connacht and particularly with Ireland. This is Flavin taking it forward. Referee says they'll have to play it if he calls again. Good work by Dan Toohey. Now, did he take that down illegally? I don't think so. It's slow ball and they have to use it. Taken on by Swift, now 35 years of age. Marmion. Connacht being very direct. Chris Henry in the firing line. Marmion for Parks, and again the kick, and he's given that a fair old bit of height. Underneath it is Trimble. Wonderful take by Trimble. Jared Payne was with him. Pienaar looking to see if there's anything in the way of options, and the answer is there isn't, and he's got himself caught. Well, Connacht have stolen that. This could be interesting. There's a great chance that they get it away. It's going to be a try for Connacht. And George Nawupu gets in for the first try. And Ulster in all sorts of trouble. A catastrophic start for the league leaders and the perfect start for the Westerners.
Well, one thing you know at the sports ground you're going to get from Connacht, and that's a committed performance. The kick was inch perfect, well taken by Andrew Trimble, but that turnover, that counter-rucking from Connacht coming forward onto the ball, that commitment to the ball at the breakdown, very difficult to defend. Ulster very short of numbers, and an easy run-in for Connacht in the end.
Well, he couldn't believe his luck. The pass was perfect, and all Big George had to do was saunter or amble over the Ulster line. Great start for Connacht. And it all came from the penalty and the opening scrum. Well, the crowd have just about settled themselves. Dan Parks, who's the league's top scorer by some distance. He scored 119 this season for Connacht. Doesn't normally miss them from this range. And he's pushed it that little bit wide, so that's something of a let-off for Ulster. But really, that was a pretty awful start by Ulster, giving away the penalty, giving away possession, and giving away the try.
Well, what you don't, two things for Ulster. You don't want to let Connacht get off to a good start at home. You want to silence them from the outset. And secondly, when you're playing with the wind at your backs, you want to maximise the points you can gain from that. And Ulster will be disappointed on both those counts.
Taken in by Muldoon for Connacht. Marmion just waits, takes his time down that touchline. Well, he's put just about the right amount of weight on that. That was a penalty. Jared Payne went in for the ball and was taken in the air. Got a bit of a bump. I don't think it was anything malicious there, but it certainly was a careless tackle by the South African Danny Pullman. Up went Payne. Yeah, it was a fair challenge, but the man was tackled in the air, or was hit in the air, and rightly or wrongly, it was always going to be a penalty.
Yeah, well, the one saving factor for Danny Pullman, his eyes were certainly on the ball as he looked to contest that. Contact was made, and the penalty duly awarded. Opportunity now for Ulster to get some of those early points back.
Well, the wind is very definitely behind Ruan Pienaar. But while it seems to be drifting down towards Galway Bay, there's a bit of a swirl on it, so this is going to be a tough kick. Well, it's a solid enough sounding contact, and he hasn't made it. So 5-0 stays in Connacht's favour. Dan Parks, who spent more than a decade with Glasgow, then a couple of seasons with the Cardiff Blues, may well end his playing career here, but you never know. Making sure everybody's behind him. Taken in by Pienaar. Looks to put the pressure on Connacht, and that's a very good kick by Pienaar. It's going to be a Connacht line-out, but Ulster have the home side where they want them.
Well, that's perfect option taking from Ulster in these conditions. Pienaar sees the space in behind. Very cleverly executed kick. Ulster now put the pressure on. When you have that wind at your back, there is no point playing rugby in that defensive two-thirds. They'll look to establish field position and pressure the set piece.
Tap back in the Connacht side, and they've got it away cleverly. Here's the try scorer. Born in Christchurch some 29 years ago. Vastly experienced. Marmion taken on once again by Connacht. Michael Swift into Ricky Lutton, coming off the better of that exchange. Marmion into a bit of space. Trimble again underneath it. Catches. Put to ground by Vinacola, but he's presented it nicely. Pienaar. Bit of a chance here if Ulster can shift this. Lewis Stevenson Not the ideal man to be playing it inside centre, but Ulster kept possession. Pienaar. Ricky Lutton over the 10-metre line. Quicker ball, Pienaar. Now Jackson. Darren Cave. Nicely done, here's Trimble. Into Payne, this is good stuff from Ulster. Cave, oh, it's holding again. Well, he can't stop scoring tries, and that was a belter, and that was a team effort. Finished off by Stuart Olding.
Yeah, some excellent work at the end of that movement. The identification of where the space was, the support player holding his line as we see it go into the wider channels. Darren Cave, ball in two hands. He sets it off. Payne just holds his angle. Darren Cave eases off the accelerator, and then Olding comes at pace at the end. That's very clever communication and an understanding from the players where their support players were coming from.
Well, Payne's little show was crucial, and Cave's support was vital as well, and Olding's finish was perfect. Ruan Pienaar adds the extras, and having been 5-0 down, Ulster now find themselves 7-5 up.
And clinical stuff from Ulster, and we've always said they're a front foot team. When they get quality of possession, when defences are backpedaling, they've got the strike power across the park. Darren Cave featuring prominently in the build-up to that, and Olding finishing that off under the post.
Well, Stuart Olding, his fourth league try. It's just his 12th Ulster appearance. Dan Parks. Someone needs to call for that. Williams obliges. Good challenging by Connacht on the Ulster number 8. Pienaar's outside is 22. That's quite a clever kick. Play on, says the referee. Taken on by Flavin, who set it up nicely. Marmion, Parks. Brett Wilkinson in the middle of the park. Tackled by Dan Toohey. Good driving by Connacht. Here's Parks, bit of zip in this. Owen Griffin. Vinocola goes in to help. Marmion. Ronan Lochley. Cap once by Ireland as a replacement against New Zealand last summer. Parks again. Gavin Duffy ups to kick. Payne. Well, he's used that wind well, but that's great covering by Dan Parks. Now, his support players were in front of him, so he'd no option but to kick. And he's kicked well. Knocked back by Williams, Tommy Bowe. A sea of green just swallowed him up, Rory Best. Well away, Darren Cave with Trimble. Here goes Trimble. Good pass by Cave. Trimble inside to Pienaar. Pienaar still going. Thought about the pass. Oh, beautiful by Pienaar. Here goes Trimble. Strong. What a finish by Trimble. Second Ulster try. Referee had a wee look at the touch judge, who said no problems, and it was no problem for Trimble.
Well, when we saw the condition, we hoped we'd be treated to a game of running rugby. That was out of the top draw. The build-up there, once again, identification. And then look at this piece of magic. Pienaar runs the perfect angle of support from Andrew Trimble, and Pienaar has the skills to release the player. And Andrew Trimble having an outstanding season. That was crucial. He left his support player, he left his defender who was tracking him backwards by that change of angle, a step off the ball, and then Pienaar had the skills to execute an outstanding team try by Ulster.
Well, 2 under the top draw by Ulster. They'll still be smarting a little bit, having conceded an early try. All quiet at the sports ground. Pienaar couldn't quite bring it in. Well, what a turnaround. 5-0 down, now 12-5 up.
Yeah, it's the manner of which Ulster have executed the slightest of chances, and they've capitalised to seize on that opportunity to get points on the board, and that firepower they possess out wide is really being brought to bear on this Connacht side.
Andrew Trimble's 31st league try. Dan Parks with the restart. Taken in by Payne. Also made it available. Pienaar using the wind. And again, Parks does the covering. Gets taken by Tommy Bowe, perfectly legally. Plenty of green and black shirts back. It's gone loose. Just nudged forward by Ulster, and that's going to be a Connacht scrum.
Well, Connacht no strangers to these conditions. You watch them work very hard to get their pods set up. It's attritional stuff. They go through multiple phases to make small amounts of ground, but that's how you need to play into the wind. Well, their tactics will switch obviously at half-time. They'll know what they have to do with wind at their back, and they'll have Parks directing them around the park. So important that Ulster accrue some points in this first half.
Only the second scrum, and we played nearly 14 minutes. First one resulted in a penalty against Ulster. Kieran Marmion with the ball. Not a bad Connacht set piece. Good work by Wilkinson. Pienaar with the foot there. Good tackle by Olding on his opposite number, Brian Murphy, named as the Connacht Player of the Month for March. Here goes the veteran Michael Swift, taken by Tui. Marmion, Parks. It's not a bad kick. Payne knocks it forward. Vinokola spills it forward. That should be an Ulster scrum. Say to Vinokola, 28 years of age, born in Tafua, 7 times cap for Tonga. Good kick that was, and Payne got up well. Just nudged forward by Connacht. Or was it by, I think it might have been Garrett Payne. Yes, it was.
Important that Connacht respond. Came out of the gate, started very well. That physicality and that passion you expect from them, but undone by a couple of turnovers, and Ulster capitalising. Important now that this set piece, they get possession, go through some phases, see what they can create.
Ricky Lutton only his third start for Ulster. That's not a bad Ulster scrum. Marmion under a bit of pressure from Chris Henry. Parks had to stretch. Vinokola comes in off the wing, always dangerous. Olding made a good tackle. Parks again. Oh, big hit by Kay. That looked forward. Danny Pullman, the 24-year-old from Pretoria. Good work by Robbie Dyack, swallowing up Marmion, who's done really well to present it. Good work by the scrum half. Connacht's try scorer gets it away. Ulster trying to keep Connacht bottled up. Chris Henry gets out of the way. Wilkinson made a decent bit of ground. Good support from Mike McCarthy. Oh, and away goes Pullman. There's a huge gap there. Ulster's defence caught absolutely napping. Connacht looking pretty good here. Parks, that looked forward. Gathered in by Robbie Dyack. And there was nudged forward, I think, by an Ulster hand. And it's going to be a Connacht scrum. I'm not sure who's booing the Connacht crowd because they thought there might have been an advantage play to the Ulster crowd because the referee gave the scrum against them. Where did Pullman come from?
Yeah, excellent vision there. Picked the ball up and drove through the vacant position where that post defender should have been, and then 2 hands to the ball. It was an attempted catch, not an intentional knockdown, so only the knock on.
There's Brent Wilkinson, another man born in South Africa, now Irish qualified, has played for the Wolfhounds. Tonight's his 121st league game for Connacht. What a great servant he's been down the years. Been playing for the Western Province since 2006. This is Ronan Loughney, who's been playing for almost as long. Good strike by Flavin. Solid looking Connacht scrum. Marmion. Dan Parks. Oh, that's nicely done. What a great pass. Duffy. Vinokola. Poor Ulster defence. He's got to the line, and that's a second try for Connacht. And Ulster's defence was really found wanting there. Vinokola is very determined, but it was made very easy for him.
Yeah, system error in defence it looked like from Ulster, and Vinokola 5 metres out is a difficult man to stop. Compressed defence, the outside break, and then the miscommunication at 13-14, 2 men ending up on the same, and a player outside. Cave operating on a more passive drift to allow the outside player to pick up, and Andrew Trimble rushing in defensively to try and cut it out, and that resulted in Vinokola's magic feet 5 metres from the line, getting Connacht over. Entertaining stuff in the first 17 minutes, 2 tries apiece.
Well, Ulster should know from bitter experience, having lost here a year ago and drawn here 2 years ago, that no matter what stage of the game, Connacht will always come back at you. Ulster led 16-13 at the interval a year ago on this corresponding fixture, and we're turned over 26-21. And this is Dan Parks to bring everything back on level terms. Well, good value here at the sports ground. 2 tries apiece. He's angled that one beautifully, aimed it for the near post and allowed it to drift in. That's a cracking kick from Dan Parks. Still inside the first quarter, and it's 12 apiece. What a good finish this was.
Yeah, it was an excellent throwaway pass. It got the attacking player on the outside of his opposite defender, and then it was a clinical finish. And look at this for a kick, an understanding of the conditions at the sports ground. Magnificent kick.
Ball knocked back on the Connacht side. Here is Vinokola, gets away from Lutton. Bad miss by the prop. Brian Murphy takes it forward for Connacht. Oh, here's Vinokola again. Well, not a bad selection, given that he wasn't an original choice. Marmion, Parks to keep it tight. Payne gets back. Well taken by Jared Payne. Michael Swift is up there to add his 18 stones to it, and he's held the ball off the ground. And if the referee blows his whistle, Connacht will get the put into the scrum. Ulster moving forward. It's great work by Connacht. But because it was from a kick, more was formed immediately, so it's Ulster get the put into the scrummage. And I was going to say good interpretation of the laws by Peter Fitzgibbon, but it's just a question of knowledge of the laws, and he does know them.
Yeah, Michael Swift probably thinking, given that he wasn't the first man into the tackle, he might have got away with it, given that the initial tackler released him. But you're looking at technicalities there, and Ulster will certainly welcome an opportunity to have some set-piece possession and try and stamp their authority on proceedings after a great Connacht try.
Well, we've had 4 pretty high-quality tries. Good Ulster scrum, good solid straight back by Lutton. Pienaar to Trimble in off the wing. Jackson, haven't seen much of him. Here's Olding. Up and down again, clever stuff by Olding. Got himself caught. Well, there was a man who was tackled, surely. Referee's playing advantage to Connacht. I thought there was an Ulster player who was tackled before the ball was passed to him. Ulster won't be happy with that. Advantage is over to Connacht. Little chip by Parks, and sensibly Jackson lets it go into touch. But he's still a fine player, isn't he?
He certainly directs the team around the park very well. Pity for Olding that he lost his footing here. He's just showing again the threat he possesses. Off the left, off the right, back on his feet, away he goes again. All action stuff. Probably forced the pass a little bit in terms of the defending player was already on top of the ball receiver and placed a huge amount of pressure on him to receive that ball.
This might well be Ulster's first line out of the game. Dyack. That's gone more or less vertical from Pienaar. Knocked forward. Penalty against Ulster. Taking the man in the air, Chris Henry is going to get a bit of a roasting. Peter Fitzgibbon acknowledges that it was mistimed. Dragons 19.
Yeah, no real maliciousness in that.
Dragons 19, Munster 5, I'm hearing. Edinburgh 10, Treviso 3, I'm also hearing. And Glasgow 12, Osprey's screen. So Glasgow, after that rather surprise defeat to the Scarlets last week, bouncing back again, keeping the pressure on Ulster and Leinster at the top of the table. And there's an injury. I think it's Gavin Duffy who's... No, it's not Gavin Duffy. It was Gavin Duffy who went up for the ball, and then his head clashed with another Connacht player. Duffy seems to be fine, but the man who got the bang in the head is George Naupu.
He looks as though he got an elbow coming down there and got him right on the jaw and hit the trip switch, and that was it. Hit the ground. Clumsy stuff, but certainly no malicious intent. Chris Henry almost trying to ease the player back to ground once he realised the timing error.
Well, he looks a little bit wobbly, but he's grinning, and he seems to be happy enough about that. Eric Elwood in the background. The chaps in the studio said what a great servant he's been to this part of the world in terms of rugby. So 22 minutes almost played, 12 apiece, and Connacht where they want to be. Pretty close to Ulster's 22. Parks born in Hornsby in New South Wales in Australia. Mark Anscombe. Taken at the back by McCarthy. In fact, it might well have been Mick Kearney. Oh, that's good solid work by a pretty hefty and impressive Connacht pack. They're holding it on there. Ulster have got to get back. They're splintering a little bit. Ricky Lutton's got to get himself round. This is great work by the Connacht forwards. Referee's given the advantage to Connacht. There's going to be a penalty to Connacht. Back to Parks. Just pops it up in the air, doesn't really matter, but they might get something out of this, you know. Taken in by Tommy Bowe, and they'll come back for the penalty. And Connacht are giving Ulster probably more problems than Ulster would like.
Well, excellent structure in that rolling maul, continuing to move forward. Ulster players working their way through, but then having to retreat and go back around, and eventually the temptation too much as Connacht move forward at pace to bring that down. And the marksman, that is Dan Parks, steps up, and the Ulster management will be concerned. They'll understand at this juncture in the game with 15 minutes left and a 12-all scoreline that in the second half, with Dan Parks' mastery of kicking out of hand, he will put Connacht in the right position. So they'll be acutely aware they need to get full value out of this wind at their back.
Well, having been 5-0 up, an early try by George Naupu, Connacht find themselves 12-5 down. And Vinacola's try, Parks' conversion, has made it 12-all, and this too put Connacht back in the lead once again. They like it down here in the sports ground. So a well-struck penalty into a treacherous wind by Dan Parks. Kept it pretty low, and he hit it very hard, so there was no chance of it deviating. And Connacht 15-12 up.
And for Ulster, it's just about possession. They've shown what they can do with ball in hand. They've got threats all over in the park. They're making breaks at will out wide and just need to get their hands on the ball.
Well taken in by Connacht. Great challenge by the ebullient Andrew Trimble. Parks wasn't put under any real pressure. Jared Payne takes it well. Has a go himself. Oh, great gap is opened up by Payne. Here comes Robbie Dyack. Pienaar. Plenty of men out to the left. Jackson. Well, didn't quite make up his mind. Pienaar. Ricky Lutton. Good change of angle by the tight head prop. Pienaar again. Now it's Jackson. Williams is with them. Only one way he's going to go. Gets it away to Stevenson. Great defense there by Owen Griffin. Pienaar. Jackson. Tui. Well, Connacht putting heart and soul into every single tackle. Pienaar. Now Jackson. This is out Henry. Cave. Slapped down by Connacht. Referee says play on. Here's Andrew Trimble. Taken a wee bit high by Parks. Knocked forward by Ulster. Connacht ball. Great defence by the home side.
They're really committed stuff. Body on the line. Identifying the ball carrier and hitting with numbers. Driving Ulster back in the tackle. Look at that appetite for work. You can... Getting bumped off initially and then a double man tackle forcing Ulster backwards. Very committed stuff.
Well, just epitomised, I think, Connacht's commitment by numbers 13 and 14, Owen Griffin and Danny Pullman. Double tackling Lewis Stevenson.
Connacht will just look for possession in these 15 minutes. Ulster are so threatening with ball in hand. The best way for Connacht to approach us is to just wind that clock down by going through their phases. They're used to playing into this breeze. They get a pod of 3 or 4 players. They hit up. They have urgency to get players around the corner, and they just keep hitting up in those little pods and just take the sting out of opposition defences. And then when Dan Parks feels that the wingers have come up, he probes that space in behind.
Ulster have made probably far too many handling errors, I'm sure, for Mark Anscombe's liking, certainly for the liking of backs coach Neil Doak, about half a dozen, I reckon. Connacht's scrum has never been really under serious pressure. That was a slip. Ulster have got John Afoa on the bench, and Johan Muller, and Ian Henderson, and Paul Marshall, whom, if he comes on, will win his 100th Ulster cap this evening.
Well, that's the thing in Ulster's favour, the ammunition they've got off the bench. If this is a close game with 20 minutes to go, Ulster have got the quality to unleash off the bench to give that added momentum for the final push.
Good squeeze by Ulster. Marmion gets away from Henry. Well, that's clever use of the ball by Connacht. Now there's a wee overlap here. Pullman steps inside Tommy Bowe. Now through there quickly. Parks thought about the kick. Gets it to some of the heavyweight forwards. Well through by Stevenson. Nothing wrong with that. Play on, says the referee. And Ulster get the penalty. Ball was knocked forward by a Connacht player, and another Connacht player touched the ball after it was knocked forward. Might have been Michael Swift.
A good clear out from Lewis Stevenson. That gave the momentum to Ulster, then piling in, and it's a temptation just too much not to grab that ball, and Ulster will welcome this opportunity to even the score.
Yep, as we've said many times before, Ryan, it's a tough call sometimes. You see the ball even though it's come off one of your own players, and your natural instinct is to go for it, particularly if it's in a close situation. But that's the law, and the law has said that the offence was committed, and that's given Ruan Pienaar the chance to get Ulster back on level terms. Just to the left of the Connacht posts. The referee said yes, and the touch judges agree with him. So it's now 15 apiece. Well, a very entertaining game.
There certainly has been plenty of width to it, and plenty of missed tackles, I'm sure, won't please the defensive coaches on both sides, but that's what's led to this entertaining game. Some excellent angles being taken, some wonderful support lines being run, and some very clever passing.
Once again, Dan Parks to restart. Connacht forwards have been split evenly on either side, but Parks is going out to his right. And he's put that straight into touch. The referee said scrum or line out. Ulster do have the option of taking the line out if they want, but they've gone back with a scrum in the middle of the pitch.
Yeah, midfield scrum, much better attacking options present for Ulster. Nick Williams, who we've seen off the back of that scrum, Ruan Pienaar with the pace, if they can get on an outside shoulder, and you can see the two wings salivating at the prospect of more ball in hand.
Well, certainly plenty of options. On the Ulster left, they've got Paddy Jackson, Stuart Olding, Darren Cave, and Tommy Bowe on the left wing, but it's all about these fellas. They have to secure possession. Good scrum by Wilkinson, but Lutton digs in. Nick Williams controls. Pienaar on the narrow side. Payne has to stretch. Advantage being played. Vainacola gets away from Williams. Poor tackle. Good work by the covering Tom Court. Advantage is now over. Ronan Loughney. Well, Ulster's error count way too high. Good tackle by Dan Toohey on Mike McCarthy, the man who he probably feels is keeping him off the Irish side, and he might be right. The ball was out. Good work by Toohey at the breakdown. Ulster get away with it. Here goes Tommy Bowe. Foot on the gas by Bowe. Little chip by Bowe. Pullman goes back and nudges it into touch, and it's going to be an Ulster line-out. Good to see Tommy Bowe getting involved.
Yeah, once again, that's excellent work counter-rucking Connacht, just not committing enough players to give the quality of possession to their halfback. We're just seeing the finish off there, and Ulster have now established field position. Let's see what they can do from that platform.
Good work initially by Connacht. And that's when the ball went wide, and McCarthy was absolutely clattered by Dan Toohey, who's maybe a point to prove, and Toohey kept at it. Ulster have everybody in the line out. Interesting, Nick Williams has gone to scrum half. Well taken by Ulster. Rory Best with the ball tucked in. Ulster pack set up a driving maul. Dyack in the middle of it all. Pienaar saying go forward. There's plenty of room and plenty of time. And here they go again. Connacht, if they drag this down, they could concede a penalty try, but Ulster will be going for the Connacht line. They're only a metre away, and they might well have got over, and the try, I think, has been given, and it might just be the skipper, Rory Best.
Well, very clinical stuff from Ulster. The line-out was affected to perfection. They got blockers in either side of the ball carrier. Very patient in the way they set that up. Once that protection was in place, they were steady on their feet, then they started inching their way forward. Connacht not sacking the player initially and then not committing enough players to halt that. It stopped once, they took their time, and then Rory Best seeing the opportunity straight from the back and over.
Well, he sneaked round the blind side for his 4th league try, and this is 101st league appearance.
That just gives Ulster some separation of 5 points, kicks still to come. Much healthier scoreline for them if that's the way they finish this half.
What of course they don't want to do is do what they did the last time and concede a try from the restart. But we worry about that as and when. Sun has all but disappeared here at the sports ground. Pienaar's got underneath that. Oh, that's a good kick by Pienaar. He really nailed that one. And Ulster have opened up a 7-point gap. It's Connacht 15, Ulster 22. And we've still about 7 minutes to go to the interval.
And the game living up to the dry weather billing looks like being a high-scoring encounter. Both teams giving plenty of width to their play, but it's turnover possession that's cost both sides.
Parks with a clever kick. Trimble. Dyack. Good driving work by the impressive Dyack. Good take by Jackson. Gavin Duffy, Connacht's redoubtable skipper. Williams waits and takes. Swift is in there. Oh, went backward. Fortunately enough, Chris Henry. But that set Ulster on the back foot, and they have to do the whole thing again. Good call by Jackson. Away to Cave. Good break by Cave. He's got Bull with him. He's looked inside him and he gets it. Oh, that was slapped down by Connacht. Fair enough, says the referee. And here come Connacht on the counter. This is Owen Griffin. Had Cave looked outside him, Bow, I think, probably would have been in. Toohey, Finacola. Well nabbed by Toohey. Right over, unfortunately, off his feet. Concedes the penalty. Well, Darren Cave will not look back on that one, I think, with anything other than maybe a slight touch of regret.
Well, an excellent break as we see him shrugging one and getting off and then trying to position his support. Pullman does well to get in between Cave and Bow, and that forced the inside pass option. Excellent work by Toohey. Vainikolo, a difficult proposition one-on-one with a perceived mismatch, but Toohey doing very well to hold his ground.
I think it might have been the presence of Nick Williams who knocked a couple of Ulster players off their perch. Ulster have kept the ball in play. Pienaar with the long kick. That was Parks, now to Vainikolo, who looks such a threat. Well tackled by Olding. Owen Griffin again. Marmion, been busy. Mike McCarthy, the man who's off to play his club rugby in Leinster next year, and the Connacht give away the penalty. And this is maybe far enough out for Dan Toohey, but Ulster might go for the corner and maybe try another catch and drive.
Yeah, you'd think it's within range, and Ulster with 7 points could stretch it out to 10. They may well feel that the kick for goal would be the best option, as it looks like they've signalled for that option.
Peter Fitzgibbon saying that Ulster have decided to have a shot. That's not a good sight. Now, Dr. Michael Webb and head physio Gareth Robinson are on having a look at Nick Williams. So Peter Fitzgibbon has asked his touch judges to go round behind the posts. Still a bit of concern about Williams. Just getting back to full fitness, and has had a couple of little minor setbacks, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's shown his values outstanding with ball in hand, always looking for that offload, keeping the ball in play. And Ulster are making very good decisions at the breakdown as to when to commit numbers to it, when the potential's there for a turnover. And that's brought them a lot of dividends. That turnover ball, when you've got the strike power out wide, is very difficult to defend against.
Well, that might just be where Nick Williams got himself twisted. He's up on his feet again. There seems to be indications that they might want to bring somebody on, but there's not that much time to go to the interval. If he can last until the interval, then they might be able to do something more, but he's not looking all that terribly comfortable as we have a look at Ruan Pienaar attempting to stretch Ulster's lead a little bit more. It's just inside the Connacht half and no more. Just dropped a wee bit on the short side. So Connacht 15, Ulster 22. It stays. Nick Williams seems to be a lot better. Pienaar shakes his head. That was very close. Decent handful of Ulster supporters have made the trip down here to the west of Ireland. It's a trip that used to be about 3 days camel ride, but now you can do it in a matter of hours. That was one of the most pleasant trips in days gone by. Bow waits, leaves it for Pienaar. That's given Ulster plenty to chase, but there aren't too many people chasing. Well taken by Jared Payne. Oh, he's done well to get away. He had Bow with him, but Payne has kept going. Great chance now for Ulster. Pienaar, Paddy Jackson moves it wide. Tui. Referee said it wasn't forward. Well tackled by Owen Griffin on Dan Tui. And Ulster's momentum has been slowed. Jackson. Williams seems to be fine. Gets it away to Henry. Great work again there by Connacht and by McCarthy, his Irish teammate. Pienaar, Trimble. Pullman puts him down. Narrow side stuff. Here goes Lewis Stevenson. Good shoulder, good delivery. Pienaar, Tom Court. Quicker ball now. Here's Jackson. Back inside to Cave. Ulster right underneath the Connacht posts. And they give away the penalty. Errors, errors, errors. Darren Cave penalised for keeping the ball underneath his body and not making it available.
Yeah, going long body there and offering some extra protection to the ball. Picked up by the referee. High involvement from Darren Cave, looking very hungry to get ball in hand, and has made a number of telling contributions on that occasion, just with the attention of Mike McCarthy, unable to release that ball.
Parks hasn't made a lot of ground, but I'll tell you something, if that wind, now the wind is still fairly strongish and it's in Ulster's favour, and I'm not sure that 7 points is the sort of lead that Ulster will really relish.
They'll need to come out and roll the sleeves up in the second half. That wind showing signs of dying down a little bit, and Ulster will certainly welcome that.
Adrian Flavin. Clean take by Connacht. McCarthy just waits and then goes in to protect. Marmion. Straight into touch. Ulster get the line out. Just about a minute remaining, so there may well be time.
Yeah, the players coming in with Ulster. Paddy Jackson just communicating what he wants off this. You'd think it probably has to be off the top, try and get in those wider channels. Maybe a second man play, try and get Bow around the corner and see what they can achieve out wide with limited time.
Nick Williams has moved to the back of the Ulster line out. Robbie Dyack, number 6, in front of him. Well spoiled by Connacht. That was a line out Ulster simply had to win. referee's blown his whistle, and the first offence was Ulster knocking the ball forward at the line out, so Connacht will get the put in. Yeah, come off Lewis Stevenson, just didn't get up high enough. Didn't make the ball sufficiently secure. And I'm sure, Ryan, if Connacht win this scrummage, then they'll just put it straight into touch, because we have now had 40 minutes played.
Yeah, nothing to gain from them playing from deep into the wind. 7-point margin with this breeze. They'll be reasonably happy. Disappointed with a few of those missed tackles that led to some of those Ulster's tries, but overall they're in a pretty good position after this first half.
Down goes the scrum. Ronan Lockley getting a pat in the head from Mick Kearney, who's 6'5", flank forward. I'm sure Kieran Marmion will know exactly what to do with this should Connacht win it. Connacht told to use it, and Marmion does exactly what you'd expect of him, and he's put it into touch. Well, Ulster have outscored Connacht by 3 tries to 2, but again the underlining current, I think, round seems to be too many Ulster errors.
Yeah, they'd be very happy with the turnover ball they've created. They've shown that they're up for the defensive aspect of this game. A couple of little errors have led to some tries against them. They'll know they have to come out into this wind and go through multiple phases.
Half-time score here at the Sports Ground, Connacht 15 and Ulster just about 20. Well, a converted try between them. Tommy Bowe, desperate, I'm sure, to get on the scoreboard this week. That man, Ruan Pienaar, with 7 of Ulster's points, the rest from tries. Wind still blowing very much. Down the pitch towards Galway Bay, and it's in Connacht's favour as Dan Parks puts it straight into touch, and that's the second time he's done that. And Ulster again take the option of the scrummage, so not often you see Dan Parks do that once in a game, never mind twice. Well, Ulster thought on the far side about taking the quick line out. It was Jared Payne decided to try the quick line out option, but Rory Best, the skipper, had already told the referee that the scrum option was his preferred option. No sign of any changes, certainly on the Ulster side, and no sign, I believe, of any changes on the Connacht side. So it's as you were at the end of the first half, which produced 5 tries, 2 for the home side and 3 for the visitors.
The last time Ulster had a midfield scrum, they tried to open that blind side up through Williams and Pienaar. Be interesting to see if they play the double bluff on this one.
Connacht taking the front row down a little bit, and the referees penalised them quite rightly too. Ronan Lockley, the offender. Good work by Tom Court. Ronan Lockley just taking it down. It's good refereeing by Peter Fitzgibbon. Now it's into a stiffish breeze, so I'm pretty sure those Ulster will still go for the line out. I suppose the good thing about playing into a breeze is that it's easier to play a running game because the ball drifts back into you.
Yeah, and that's
Jackson has found a very good touch. Sorry, Ryan.
Certainly where Ulster have got their armoury, they've shown that in those wider channels they've made a number of clean breaks. They've converted a number of them as well. They have the strike power and the ability to break down the opposition. It becomes about possession, and they should have plenty of that in the second half.
Ulster skipper Rory Best, one of Ulster's 3 try scorers in the first half. First line out of the second half. Great take by Tue. Pienaar. Williams has come out. Here's Olding. Oh, he's so strong. He's got right through. Great break by Olding. Can Ulster capitalise on that now? Back inside to Tommy Bowe. Still there for Ulster. Pienaar. Jackson. Ricky Lutton got the ball away well to Dan Tue, who's been well policed by McCarthy. Ulster trying to keep the ball in play, and Connacht just squeezed them into touch for a home line-out.
Yeah, frustrating for coaches when the ball goes over the touch line on that occasion. The big thing about Ulster, as Connacht take the quick tap, is they've got ball carriers in their pack, but you add their wings getting involved and they've got options across the park.
Parks, scruffy old kick, well gathered in by Tommy Bowe. Here's Payne. Trimble. Cave has moved wide. Trimble goes straight. Good work by Trimble. Here's Williams. He's on his own. Typical barreling run by Nick Williams. Quickly released. Pienaar. Good work by Ulster on the charge. Pienaar wants it quickly. Terrific counter, rucking by Connacht. And they give away the penalty off their feet. Pienaar's thinking about the quick one. Well, it's a good start to the second half by Ulster. That's what exactly they needed to do. And they need points, given that Connacht have the wind.
Yeah, Lewis Stevenson looking a little bit wobbly on his feet there. He's been on the end of a couple of big tackles from the Connacht team, and Tom Court just offering some support to keep his legs.
Well, the doctor, Michael Webb, is in there. I think Lewis Stevenson's got a bit of a bang to the head. Oh, he really took a huge hit there. That was a great tackle by, I think it was Owen Griffin. And he was really shunted back, and his neck was jarred a little bit. Now, they need to be very careful with him. I don't think he knows what day it is. I think they might have to take him off. Yeah, Michael Webb is saying we're going to have to make a change. Lewis Stevenson is like a boxer who's taken a heavy thump, and he really is completely disorientated. So Ulster will be bringing on the club skipper Johan Muller, I'm pretty sure, which is not a bad man to have in reserve.
Yeah, it's the bench we knew would feature at some stage, probably a little bit earlier than anticipated, but he'll certainly add something to the cause.
So off goes the unfortunate Stevenson, who's had a very good season, and on comes Johan Muller. I can't actually remember him coming off the bench too often. So Muller on, who's captained the side on 47 occasions in his 57 Ulster appearances to date. It doesn't look too bad, Lewis Stevenson, but every safety precaution must be taken. Michael Allen and Peter Nelson, a rueful smile from the big fellow. Not much of a blind side for Ulster, if that's an option. Robbie Dyack, he's played 13 of the last 14 games. Has started. Good Ulster scrum. Williams couldn't control it. Well, that was a shambles by Ulster. That really was not satisfactory at all.
They'll be disappointed to have surrendered that field position. Great attacking platform at their disposal, and that's the luxury of that wind at your back. Connacht, if they can get their foot to the ball, it's going to go a long way. That's the game plan they'll have in this second half. Michael McComish said at half-time he's played for a couple of years. They'll be looking for Dan Parks to kick deep into these corners and apply pressure to the set piece.
Well, Ulster couldn't have got a better field position, and they've conceded some 50 metres. What a great pass by Pienaar. Jackson to Williams. Well, he's gone very high, and Connacht have held him up with comparative ease. Pienaar, Jackson again. Henry, Connacht have flooded this near side. Lots of defenders there. Pienaar again. Ulster need a bit of width. Jackson, that's more like it. Here's Best. He had Dyack with him. Holding was outside. Dyack straightens, and Connacht trying to hold him up. Good work by Mike McCarthy. And Connacht get the put into the scrum.
And Mike McCarthy sensing the opportunity, holding that ball up, and Andrew Trimble's frustration trying to use his feet to clear that possession for Ulster.
Ulster making another replacement, and Ricky Lutton is going off, and on comes New Zealand World Cup winner John Afoa. That was the breakdown, and that's where Ulster lost possession. And John Afoa's putting a very fine new haircut, and the whiskers have been trimmed as well, so he's looking very streamlined. But you don't need to be streamlined for a prop. All you need to do be as full of badness and muscularity. Connacht's put in. Free kick against Ulster for early engagement. Very silly. Naupu, the first try scorer, takes it on. Connacht now with the tails up. Ulster have got to be careful. They had a great position. They've conceded position and possession. This is Loughney, who's made good ground. Flavin came hurtling in. Nick Williams looking a little bit flat on it. Taken on by Brian Murphy, of whom we've seen so very little. Quick ball, Marmion. Connacht have got a replacement on. It's number 22, Mia Nakora is on. Well taken by Connacht. They've kept the ball going. Marmion has a break. Left behind him. Holding very nearly straight offside. In come Ulster. Connacht have an extra man here. Oh, Griffin gets away. Little tap tackle by Stuart Holding. Connacht once again with the tails up. Here comes Adrian Flavin. Well, this is typical second half Connacht stuff. Down the hill, the wind behind them. Fire in their bellies. Muldoon, penalty against Ulster. Referee still playing advantage. Marmion looking for Nakora, who's on for Parks. Nakora for the drop at goal. And he's missed it, but the penalty will stand.
You can see that enthusiasm that comes from Connacht. They get a sniff of that line and their body language changes. They get the scent of it, and just that increased physicality at the breakdown starting to make some ground around the fringes, and they'll look to be the first to score in this second half.
Well, we did say just before the interval that 7 points might not be enough. Well, 7 points is enough. 4 is certainly not going to be enough.
No, the wind isn't blowing the gale that it normally is, but it's distinctly in Connacht's favour, and they'll look to capitalise early with some points. It's, Connacht well used to turning around, coming with the breeze at their back. Ulster now introducing their bench, and they'll be looking for an increase in physicality. The breakdown has been the area that they profited from in terms of turnover, and they'll look to keep that going.
Well, Nakora with that trusty left foot of his, and it's right between the Ulster posts, and it's looking a little bit ominous here in the sports ground for Ulster. Not for the first time. The gap is down to 4 points. We played 8 minutes in the second half, and it's Connacht 18 thanks to this fella, and Ulster 22.
And Connacht will now just be looking for a safe receipt of this kick, get the ball in the air again, and give Ulster that feeling of being in their own 22 again.
Jackson taken in by Gavin Duffy, who bumped into Mick Carney, albeit briefly, but perfectly legally. Chris Henry threatening to get himself offside. Nakora, Jared Payne gives it to Williams. Well, he did have men outside him. Payne at scrum half. Jackson, Tommy Bowe runs into Wilkinson. Bowe strong enough to make it available. Pienaar, Williams, Flavin and Michael Swift with the twin tackles. Pienaar, Jackson, men out wide. Holding gets it back inside to Cave, and it was forward, and Holding's hurt.
Holding taking a heavy tackle there as he tried to slip that ball onto the inside. Excellent work by Vainikolo, spotting that opportunity, and the ribs exposed as he tried to offload that ball into Darren Cave, and adjudicated forward by the referee.
Well, Eric Elwood maybe just senses that his last old-fashioned interprovincial in charge of his beloved Connacht may result in a win. Dan Parks has been replaced by Mia Nakora. Clatter around the ribs, I think. A little soft bit was exposed there. We took a fair old thump from Feitu Vainikolo, but I think he's fine. Anyway, the pass was forward, and it's a Connacht scrum. 10 minutes played in the second half, and only 4 points between them. If the game was finished now, Ulster would be very happy.
A lot of rugby left to be played in this game, and we hope that it's as entertaining as that first half. A lot of freedom with ball in hand, and both teams shrugging off tackles. You feel that the team that can assert themselves at that breakdown, because with quality of possession, both teams have shown they've got the ability to break tackles.
Referee will want them to do it all again. Johan Muller, who had a Dragons 30, Munster 24, I'm reliably informed. Treviso 13, Edinburgh 10. And Glasgow 22, Ospreys 10. So Glasgow by no means out of things in terms of a top two finish. Good squeeze by the Ulster scrum with John Afoe on the tight head side. Connacht take it on the narrow side, and Ulster have picked them up. Naupu strong enough to make it available. Williams in there as well. That's good work by Connacht after initially conceding possession or territory in a dodgy scrum. Still there for Connacht, and they get the penalty. Cian Marmion was pulled in illegally. Well, John Afoe has committed 2 offences since he came on, and next time I think it'll be a yellow card, so the new haircut hasn't done him too much good. Well, that's a great kick by Mia Nakora, and Connacht in a very good position. And Ryan, unless Ulster start picking up their ideas, they're going to lose this game.
Well, when Connacht start to get some momentum in the game, that's the difficult thing. The crowd then start to surge behind them. The players' belief gets there, and you see the urgency pick up, and they get into that sort of fever, and they're very difficult to stop. But the breakdown, you sense, is going to be key in determining the outcome for the remaining 30
John
minutes.
Afoe just a little bit too enthusiastic there. Connacht's line out, bit untidy, stolen by Ulster, and they really needed to steal that one. Johan Muller got it back. Pienaar is a fellow World Cup winner. That's a good clearance by the Springbok. Ulster still inside their own half, almost 13 minutes gone in the second half. First half tries for Ulster by Rory Best, Andrew Trimble and Stuart Olding. Connacht's line out. Back by McCarthy. Nakora looking for the gap, very nearly found it. Marmion. Good tackle and swift by Robbie Dyack. Marmion has had a terrific season for Connacht, tackled by Afoe. Still in danger of falling over the ball. Nakora, not much in the way of options. Walsh gets the charge down, taken on by Gavin Duffy, Connacht's skipper. Gets away from Tui. Still there for Connacht. John Muldoon. Marmion, Nakora opts for the kick. That's a towering effort. Well taken by Payne. Oh, he's got away. Needs the help. Now he gets it. Pienaar. Bow on the outside half position. Clean line break by Tommy Bow. Ulster need more of those. Pienaar. Williams. Big gap. Williams gets it away to Afoe. Pienaar seemed to be interfered with before he had the ball. Peter Fitzgibbon missed that one as well. Here comes Olding. Into Nakora. Pienaar. Jackson. Trimble. Pass was too hard for Dyack. Well, they do so many good things, and then at the end, it's just not there. Well, was there an early tackle yet again, Ryan, do you think?
We were just seeing this run by Payne. That sets up the break, gets through, and then it's that speed of recycled ball. When that's there, Ulster can play with that freedom. Nick Williams coming from depth. Once again, the offload, always key, and then difficult to see off camera whether that was a grab before he received the ball.
Yeah, well, I thought Ruan Pienaar was slightly impeded there when he took that pass. Jared Payne missed 5 games in a row. And Peter Fitzgibbon seems to be enjoying himself. Etienne Reineke, the 31-year-old South African, is going to come on. Nicely timed pass. Now look, that's a penalty. And Peter Fitzgibbon must have seen that. The man in the moon saw that.
He's gotten away with that one, John Muldoon, showing his experience, managed to get away with it, and probably saved Connacht a try.
Well, if this doesn't go Ulster's way, that'll be a significant moment in this game. So Adrian Flavin, who's played his last inter-pro in a Connacht jersey, is replaced by the South African, also pretty well up in years, now 31. His 32nd league game, Reineke, coming on. 15 minutes played in the second half. The only time the scoreboard has been troubled is by a penalty for Connacht through Mian Nakora. Good squeeze by Ulster. And Tom Court penalised for coming in at an angle. Well, the referee pinged him in the very first scrum of the game, and he's done it again. And again, Ulster in the right position, and again conceding possession.
Yeah, very unusual for a team in command of the scrum to give away a penalty. They're in an offensive position, they're driving forward, and the penalty goes against them.
Well, again, I would have to think that was a very hard call, because the scrum was actually wheeling round. Another replacement for Connacht. Brett Wilkinson is going off. And I think it might be Rodney Ayew who's come on. Connacht's line out. Bit untidy. Well away. Good tackle by Rory Best. Marmion looking for a gap. Closed down by a foe and Court, but still there for Connacht. Fresh legs from Reinicke. Well, Robbie Dyack doing his best to get out of it. This is Rodney Ayew. Chris Henry has to get away, and the ball was held in by Ulster. And that's a good example of the choke tackle, and Ulster get the put into the scrum, and my word, they need it.
You can see the Ulster players not trying to bring the player to ground, sensing the opportunity when two men get in there and adopt a good body position. They create that sandwich. Tom Court comes in to add his bulk, trying to keep the players off the ground, and that results in the turnover. You can't help but admire Connacht's application. They come up against teams that are stacked with internationals themselves, not stand out individually, but that collective spirit that they play with, you really have to admire it.
Well, there's the old finger test to see if there's anything wrong, and Rory Best seems to have passed that finger test. There's Gert Small there, and Pat Lamb, who's the new Connacht coach. Bit of a confab there. And Les Kiss, the man who's going to lead Ireland to the two-game tour in North America, Canada and the USA in a couple of months' time. Almost 17.5 minutes gone, and Ulster deep in their own territory. Chris Henry has a little glance out to his left. Andrew Trimble on the Ulster blind side. Penalty against Connacht. Rodney Ayew. I think the referee's attention was called to that infringement by his colleague on the far side. Ayew not making any attempt to bind against John Afoa, a fully fledged All Black against an under 19 and under 20 All Black. Well, the strength of the wind there fairly clear, because Ruan Pienaar hasn't made a great deal of ground, but Ulster have got possession. And as we come to the end of the third quarter of this game, with Ulster leading by only 4 points, they need a few more insurance points. Johan Muller now calling the line out. Well, that was pretty awful. Pienaar managed to get it away, only as far as Trimble, who was way behind that gain line. And Connacht swarming all over the Irish international. Pienaar, Jackson. Well covered back by Vinacola. Strong gets away from 1-2-3 Ulsterman. That is not good tackling by Ulster. He's swatting them off like flies. And some of them were Irish internationals. Nakora. That'll be an Ulster line-out. In fact, you could hear Peter Fitzgibbon saying green ball. It came off an Ulster hand. And is this game turning in Connacht's direction, Ryan?
Well, the longer it stays like this, the more momentum Connacht get, the more confidence they start to play with. As we see this replay just unable to bring him down. That explosive power, he's got strong handoff, beating defenders, pushing them to ground and establishing some field position for Connacht.
As the Connacht's try scorers, Ulster are going to make a change. Ian Henderson has come on, Nick Williams has gone off, so one assumes Robbie Dyack will go to number 8. So this will increase Ulster's pace about the park and their line-out ability. That's gone long, taken by Jackson. Quicker ball. Here's a Foa. Gets inside Swift. Pienaar switches the point of attack. This is Payne. Tommy Bowe. 3 men on Tommy Bowe. Pienaar. Tui runs into the enormously experienced Michael Swift. If Ulster got it to ground, if they haven't, it's going to be a Connacht put in. Yep, well played by Connacht. They are winning the collisions. They are much better at the breakdown.
Well, we've seen that choke tackle used by both teams now, and to very good effect when the player can get underneath and hold him up. It's a very potent weapon. Ireland have used it, and that's starting to filter down to these provinces.
Well, a sizable and always vociferous Ulster contingent trying to get behind their side. 19 minutes remaining. A lot of familiar faces who've been following this Ulster side for year after year. Some of them long before the professional era. John Muldoon has gone off the field. Beg your pardon, it's number 6, the back row forward, McCarney has gone off the field, and Andrew Brown, number 19, has come on. Good squeeze by Ulster. Good work by Pienaar. He needs some help. He's got it from Henry. Henderson just hangs loose, as they say. Connacht have won it. Nakora. That's out on the full, and that'll be an Ulster line-out. Again, Mea Nakora suffering from the Dan Park syndrome.
Yeah, wasn't given a lot of protection and was forced into a rush kick, and there's a couple of little errors from Connacht now, which with the wind at their back they can't afford. It's giving cheap possession back to Ulster, and Ulster have shown over the course of this game with enough possession, with enough quality possession, they'll make clean line breaks and they'll convert those to tries.
Good line out take at the back by Dyack. Here comes Pienaar. Jackson inside to Trimble, nearly got away. Good Connacht cover. Pick up and drive by Ulster through Chris Henry. Connacht told to release. Ulster taking it straightforwardly. Dyack yet again. Plenty of support. That's good play by Dyack. Reineke is in the way against his fellow South African. Again, Ulster trying to set it up, a decent field position. Afoa took it forward. Connacht post within touching distance, almost. Jackson misses out Olding. Tommy Bowe seemed to have 3 players on him every time he touches the ball. Pienaar changes the point of attack. That's a good pass. Knocked forward, knocked back, I should say. Referee's happy with that. Ulster got away with that one. Connacht have got themselves into a good defensive position. Jared Payne, no way through for him. Olding sets it up. Pienaar. Henderson. Henderson still going. Another strong young by Henderson. Run, I should say, by young Henderson. Ulster so close. Pienaar. Olding. Payne has a go himself. Gets to the line. Has he got it down? The referee's having a good look. It may well be held up. They'll have to go upstairs to the TMO, Seamus Flannery. So it's not a question of any reason why I can't award the try. It's a try, yes or no, and it's now down to Seamus Flannery. And it's all about whether or not Jared Payne did make contact with the ground, or was it held up? Impossible to tell from that angle.
It certainly looks as though Dani Pullman has got between the ball and the ground on the initial contact. Whether he's managed to hold it up subsequent to that, it's down to the TMO to decide, but nothing conclusive from the footage we've seen thus far.
Well, if it's held up, it's going to be... Ooh, did he get that down? I think it's maybe held up, and if it is held up, it's going to be a 5-metre Ulster scrum, and they won't complain about that.
No, 5-metre scrum, they'll look to get the penalty try. They've had dominance in that aspect of late, and won't be the worst result for Ulster, who clinging to that 4-point margin.
The TMO, Seamus Flannery, is still checking. Now, is this going to be the conclusive angle? There's the ball, and does that get down? It's held up on a forearm. I don't think that has made contact with the turf. There's somebody's forearm is underneath that. It might even be Jared Payne's, I'm not altogether sure. No, I think it's the Connacht players. I think it's Pullman's forearm has just held that up. So that's not going to be a fourth Ulster try.
No, but Ulster, if they keep their composure, don't release that ball too quickly from the scrum, they'll look to march that forward.
No try, but Ulster have the 5-metre scrum with 16 minutes remaining, and they need to get something from this position. Several times in the second half they've been in the right place, but have come away with no points. Good defence by big Danny Pullman. While night has fallen in the west of Ireland, and Ulster really need to get something from this if the light of silverware is going to keep burning strongly. Connacht right back on their own goal line. Arguably the most important scrum of the game so far. Taken down by Connacht yet again, Ronan Loughnane.
Expect this to be a long passage of play, but if Ulster can secure 7 points, takes the margin out to 11, and they'll feel a lot more comfortable. No rush from their perspective.
Three changes in the Ulster pack, all internationals. John Afoe on, Johan Muller on, Ian Henderson on. Can that experience and weight be brought to bear? Penalty against Ronan Loughnane. Illegal angle of engagement, and Ulster, I'm pretty sure, will go for the scrum again.
Yeah, absolutely the right decision. You've been given a penalty there. You've got ascendancy in that department. They'll be milking this for all it's worth and trying to establish that vital 7-pointer.
Less than 15 minutes to go. Connacht concede their 7th penalty. Ulster have conceded 7 as well, which is pretty high. Here they go again, the 3rd time of asking. Ulster simply must get something from this position. That's better, that looks legal. Ulster trying to get the squeeze on. That's a good Ulster scrum. Marmion trying to disrupt. Ulster nudging forward. Referee has given another penalty.
And Ulster will take another scrum.
No prizes for that one, Mr. C.
The obvious, and when you have that much dominance and you've had 2 penalties preceding this decision, there is absolutely now no doubt what Ulster are trying to achieve out of this facet of play.
Well, all they've got to do is make sure they don't engage early, make sure they keep the front row up, and then get the squeeze on. And the penalty try may just come. But let's not take anything for granted. Rory Best gets a grip of his 2 international prop forwards. That's where the whole thing starts, and for many front rowers, that's where the game ends as well. In it goes. Also got a bit of an early squeeze on. Now they need to get the right shoulder. Good control by Dayak. It's come out. He's picked it up. Referee blew the whistle. He said the scrum was up and Ulster will do it again. So this is the 5th time of asking.
Ulster certainly won't be worried that they have to reset that scrum. It would have been a disaster for them had that been play on and the ball was out, so they'll quite happily take another reset.
And the scrum is a little bit closer to the Connacht posts. And all the time, the clock is ticking. 12 minutes remaining, 4 points between them. Pienaar pops it in, good strike by Best. Scrum goes down, referee's happy. Now to Pienaar. Ulster held up once again. Pienaar gets it away, knocked backward. Play on, says the referee, crowd not happy. Well rescued by Darren Cave. Again, Ulster pick up and drive, that's good work by the Ulster forwards. In goes Tui. Connacht have slowed it up. And Connacht might just have turned it over, and they've got to put into the scrum. And have Ulster blown a gilt-edged chance?
Well, they'll certainly be disappointed. They haven't come away from that possession with points. Midfield scrum now, they've looked to pressure the Connacht kicker. They're still in the right part of the pitch. They're 4 points up, close to entering the last 10 minutes of this game.
Well, a breakaway try would do it for Connacht. And would you rule it out?
No, not the way this game has gone. As you can see, Ulster going through the phases. They're caught upright again on that occasion, and Connacht just get the last push at the end when it goes to ground, and that gives them the feed to the scrum.
Well, Connacht's defence has been, certainly in the second half, has been terrific. Not sure that Eric has too many nails left. Connacht making a replacement. Their scrum half has gone off. Paul O'Donoghue is the man who's come on. So what a good game Kieran Marmion has played. He started every single league game for his province this season. Well, if ever Ulster need to put the squeeze on the opposition front row, it's now. Early engagement by Ulster. That's given the free kick to Connacht. Now they can't kick it directly into touch, but they'll probably really welly it down the middle of the park. Nakora has a wee word. Well, that's a good kick. Trimble gathers. Jared Payne, Ulster on the back foot. Payne tries to place it. Good positional play by Gavin Duffy. Now Nakora. Well, that's into no man's land, taken by Pienaar. Gets it now to Henderson. Henderson sets off. Good sidestep by Henderson. Well, he's made amazing ground. Gets it inside. It's going to be the winning try. That's the fourth try. It's Tommy Bowe. He's been given the try. Bowe may well have won it for Ulster, and with a bonus point.
Yeah, not a great kick from Nakora. Landed perfectly. And then Henderson took off down the sideline, but had the presence of mind to see that the defence had overcommitted in cover. As he stepped inside, he kept his feet, nearly stumbled, but managed to stay, and then it was very clever offload to a trailing Bowe out the back of the hand, and the power and the pace to go over, and knowing where that try line is, a deadly finish, and Ulster will be very happy that this game looks to be beyond doubt.
Great things will happen to young Master Henderson. Great things have happened to Tommy Bowe, and greater things may well happen to Tommy Bowe, but that was a heck of a combination. The thrust, the power, the pace, the offload, and the poacher's finish. Pienaar has made a couple of replacements, more of those in a moment. That's well struck by Pienaar. Beautiful kick by Ruan Pienaar. Now, is it safe for Ulster? 8 minutes remaining, and Ulster leading by 29 points to 18. What a run by Henderson, and Bowe just ghosted from nowhere to finish it off.
Yeah, you felt that Ulster had too much on the bench, and it certainly proved to be the case. The game in the balance, but one of those substitutes in Henderson really changing the game.
Knocked forward by Connacht from the restart, tidied up by Chris Henry. Callum Black and Rob Herring are on for Ulster. Paddy Jackson. Darren Cave puts the head down and keeps going. Well taken by Gavin Duffy, who's well taken by Rob Herring. Connacht's great skipper tries to set it up. Capped 10 times for Ireland and never played at Lansdowne Road. Almost an interception by Pinar. Nakora. Doing his very best to go on his own, and he's got away. And Nakora has left the ball for dead. Ball goes loose. Well, it's all over the place. Play on, says the referee. Ulster might just have secured it. Well, Connacht are never finished. Pinar. Scruffy old kick. Back on the Ulster side. Taken in by Herring. Good pace. Gets it away to Payne. Payne's going to get try number 5 for Ulster. And this is certainly going to win it for the league leaders. Connacht tiring. Ulster's bench strong. Payne's finish perfect.
That's the 5 points for Ulster as well. Scrappy kicking in the interchange there, and then as the ball bounced fortuitously, Herring doing very well, evades the tackle, and then crucially that offload, and Payne too much pace goes all the way.
Well, just like Tommy Bowe for the previous try, Jared Payne was in the perfect position to support and the perfect position to finish. He had to run an awful lot farther than Tommy Bowe, but those 5 points are just as good as Tommy's. Jared Payne's 6th league try. Horrible season last year, only played less than a handful of games. Well, at 22-18 for most of this second half, this game was in the balance, but the pendulum has very definitely swung in favour of Ulster, who have got not just a win away from home, but it would seem a bonus point win away from home. Ruan Pienaar hasn't made good the conversion, but in the long run it's not going to matter. And 1834, Ryan, looks a lot better than 1822.
Yeah, game really secure now. Those couple of late scores have really sewn that up, but you know, if it was a 60-minute game, there's not many teams that had ever beat Connacht down here. In the end, it's just the quality that the opposition can generally bring off the bench, and that certainly proved to be the difference in the dying minutes of this game.
Well, a little bit of Ulster rugby history about to be made. Not unusual, but with Ruan Pienaar leaving the field and Paul Marshall coming on the field. Paul Marshall is going to win his 100th Ulster cap. We're looking at Matt Healy, who's on for Connacht, and not, unfortunately, at Paul Marshall. But trust me, Paul Marshall is on to win his 100th cap. Peter Nelson is coming on as Jared Payne goes off. Nelson winning just his 8th cap. And there he is. Congratulations, Mr. Marshall. Quite a season. First Irish cap and his 100th Ulster cap. Straight into it. Here's Jackson. Enterprise from Ulster. Olding with that sidestep and a handoff. Tackle was round the collar. It wasn't too dangerous. Jackson knocked forward by Callum Black. It was hit a wee bit on the early side. Referee playing advantage to Connacht. O'Donoghue. Gavin Duffy. Taken on by Mata Fafita, who's come on for Connacht. Good tackle by Ulster skipper Johan Muller. Referee playing advantage to Connacht for the penalty. Set up well by Owen Griffin. Advantage still being played. Good work by Muldoon in assisting his fellow back row forward, George Maupu. Away by Renike. Chip kick through by Nakora. Advantage is over. All the way back goes Nelson. Lets it go into touch for an Ulster lineout. Less than 4 minutes remaining.
And obviously Ulster wouldn't want to have been out of the European competition, but it does afford them a break. They come back then, dress rehearsal against Cardiff at home for what should be a home semi-final the following week.
Michael Allen coming on for Ulster. And with Peter Nelson on, I reckon that's Ulster's full complement, so I don't have to worry about who's coming on and off. And Tommy Bowe is going off. Well, not a bad return to Ulster rugby. 2 starts since he came back from injury and 2 tries. He'd be happy with that.
He's fitted in seamlessly again, showing his class, and it'll be a nervous 10 days for a lot of players just to see whether they make that plane to Australia with that imminent announcement. And it looks like Tommy Bowe's going to get 3 and a bit more minutes to really press his claim for that, as he's now not leaving the field, and it looks like Darren Cove.
Michael Allen has come on, so he can play in the centre if he likes. Well, that's gone loose, and alas for Connacht, it's been knocked forward underneath the Ulster post. Referee's playing advantage. Away goes Olding. My word, he's a strong young man. Advantage is over. Jackson, giving that plenty of air. Well played, Gavin Duffy, as always. Going to have a go. There's a wee gap there, and he nearly got through it. Slowed down by Henry, held up by Henderson. O'Donoghue, Nakora. Bit of bludgeoning in the middle of the park there by Connacht. O'Donoghue away again, and Nakora. Reinica, who likes to roam wide. Connacht still driving forward. Ulster have got themselves offside. Referees playing advantage to Connacht. 3 minutes remaining, but 16 points between them. Connacht trying to give Eric Elwood an evening to remember by maybe coming back and scoring a try, and they'll come back for the initial penalty. Michael Allen offside.
Connacht still going at it. They're not a team that gives up. They play to the final whistle. It's beyond them at this stage, but still keen to get more points on the board and try and erode that margin to give added respectability to their efforts.
Well, they've gone for the line out, needless to say. Nakora just barking instructions to his outside backs, but I have a feeling if Connacht catch this, they'll try to drive for the Ulster line. Peter Fitzgibbon not happy. Just giving Ulster a little warning about stepping across the imaginary line that's down the middle of the line-out. Reinica taken at the front by Michael Swift, who's played more games for Connacht than anybody in the province's history. Connacht driving forward. Ulster have held them up. They may well have to play this, and Ulster are just digging in. They don't want their line crossed for a 3rd time. They may not have any choice. The ball has gone loose. Coming back on the Connacht side, O'Donoghue. Swift. Naupu looking for a second. Good tackle by Robbie Dyack, who's had another impressive, solid game for Ulster. Reinica on the narrow side. Connacht swarming forward like a pile of angry bees. Ulster hanging on to them into the last minute of this game. Connacht desperate to get something from this. I think even the losing bonus point is now beyond them, but a try certainly would give Eric Elwood a great send-off, and Marshall comes away with it, and on this, the occasion of his 100th cap, clears the ball into touch for what may be the crucial last set piece of this game.
Once this is mission accomplished for Ulster, they've got the ability to rest players next week, ensure everyone's right, probably get together during the middle of the week, and they'll go on from there in preparation for the final of this season.
Just hearing Dragons 30, Munster 24. Treviso 30, Edinburgh 10. Edinburgh's miserable season continues. And Glasgow put the Ospreys to the sword, 35-17. Nakora taken on by Mata Fafita. Ulster give away the penalty. Well, 3 points no good to Connacht. The tip and take as Naupu takes it on. Good tackle by Callum Black. Great work by the replacement prop. That was a corking wrap-up. Rodney Ayew. Ulster weren't back 10. Connacht still going. Robbie Dyack throwing himself into it with gusto as always. A little bit of nonsense breaks out. Fafita, I think, may have swung a punch at somebody there. Peter Fitzgibbon trying to break them up. Well, it's all been played in pretty good spirit thus far. And you certainly don't want the game to be marred. And Michael Swift, who's seen it all before, he's not averse to a bit of "How's your father?" Has a big beatific grin over that avuncular face of his. Fafita's going to be penalised. I hope he's not going to be bent at this stage of the game. Dangerous joining of the breakdown, I think. And Ulster have kicked the ball into touch, or about to kick the ball into touch. The penalty has not yet been taken, and if they do, that's going to be game over. So all Paddy Jackson has to do is make it dead, and he does make it dead, and Ulster have survived, well, 25 minutes of trepidation in the second half, and having been 22-18 up and looking a bit iffy, they've come back with a wee bit of style, and they've won this game with a 5-point bonus win to stay top of the table. Final score in Galway, Connacht 18 and Ulster 34.